Yeah, I killed him. Stupid fucking brass.
I
Poor
touched
little
the girl
child.
on the bum.
Oh God, this is getting dark.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
It's nighttime.
How to get away with everything.
Christ. I hate you.
I missed that. Welcome to Preachin on Preacher at the Movies, episode 101. It is Shawshank Redemption in part 1, and in part 2 we are going into our question of the week, which is, how would you escape from prison?
This is Preacher 101, baby.
101?
Yeah.
I debated which way to put it.
I just wanted to make that
Like
crap
time.
joke. So yeah, sorry.
101st?
Yeah.
I thought it was disgraceful, Joe, to be fair.
Really? 101? No?
That's not a number.
110.
Alright, well, I should introduce who we are, actually. I'm Joe Lennon.
Michael Ormond.
I'm Aidan Ralph.
I'm Ken.
There we go. Intros. All right,
It's
ladies.
the first episode of the rest of our lives.
This is like the turning point, isn't it? It's like we got through the 100 episodes. Now we're like, all right, what do we do now?
Keep going. Do the seems exactly the same way as we had them before.
A little different. We got our shit together.
Yeah.
A little better,
Do we?
I think.
Sure.
Well,
why not?
this is a test.
Yeah.
How was your week, gentlemen?
Uneventful. I drove on the motorway for the first time. That's
Fuck.
always good.
Scary?
No, it wasn't too bad actually. The scary part, well, not scary part, the annoying part was not knowing where to go after you got off the motorway and nearly hitting 3 dogs.
Fair enough.
I say nearly, I did not.
Yeah. Next time.
Yeah, next time.
Next time.
I swerved to try and hit those fuckers.
Mine,
So you went dog hunting. Okay.
Yeah. Mine was
not,
also.
not to be confused with dogging.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's much
But
sexier.
then I went talking.
It's like, oh God, those dogs nearly died. That reminds me, must go dogging soon. Mine was also uneventful. I got what did I get? I got nothing. I got a bonus in work for
Hey.
recommending somebody for a job.
Nice.
So I got an extra 500
Smackaroos.
smackaroos into the paycheck.
So you
Which is
get
nice.
a bonus for doing shit work.
It was not really
It's called a recommendation
Yeah.
bonus.
No,
Oh,
he doesn't work for Phone Fix.
which was oh dear, oh dear. I work quite well at my job. If anyone from Phone Fix is listening, then I apologize for that snide remark from Joe.
I do not apologize.
Yeah, you
Nor
shouldn't.
do I.
Yeah, nothing of note really, to be honest with you. Joe, hasn't that been your week?
You know what? It's probably uneventful Monday to Friday in the last week. I know we took the last week to get it after our anniversary,
Yeah,
our centenary.
Yeah, we were all buckled after that one can we had.
yeah.
Massive week and a half.
Really
hangover.
was.
I was fine, but these
longest.
lads don't drink, so they were
Yeah.
fucked.
It was a harp hangover.
Yeah.
Oof.
Ken,
What?
week.
Week?
Yeah.
Monday to Friday work, weekend.
Camera?
Yeah, I got a new camera. We're not recording on it right now, though. Because I still have to
So,
figure
yeah.
out how to actually use it.
Next week's video, you'll notice, will be slightly better.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well, like we done the... I don't think we... I'm lost. What fucking day is it? Yeah, we went on
Tuesday.
in Instagrammers Me. I don't think I mentioned that last time we podcast.
Because it didn't happen.
Because it didn't happen by
Yeah.
that stage. Yeah, good man, Mick. Thank you. Yeah, so it was like an instant meet with like Dublin photographers and stuff. So we got to meet like a lot of not new, but new to me, Irish Dublin-based photographers, and there is so much talent out there. Like, it's ridiculous.
Is
And
it a
there's so many
purely
sound
photography thing, or is it just people like...
people that have an
influencers?
interest? I wouldn't really class, like, it's more of a photography thing
Okay.
than influencers.
So it's
Um,
not like these people who are, paid to promote brands on Instagram.
Fuck,
With
I hate those
hashtag
guys.
ad.
Hate that shit.
I hate those.
I
things so
hashtag
much.
landscape because I take a hashtag shot of a landscape.
This is it. A week from now, you're going to see Ken put up pictures of him with this new tee.
Hashtag follow for follow.
It's just this new tee. I'm getting my great abs together with this new tee. That's all you fucking
Major
see.
weight loss.
Or you see those big celebrities with the jugs full of like the muscle gains
There's a
and stuff like that.
lot of celebrities with jokes on the internet, Joe.
Oh yeah.
But you'll always see like the cups just have the powder in them and just look
yeah,
at
that's
this.
the wrong type of celebrity.
Oh yeah, well
Yeah, so like even like they said, photography of all skills. Like Rosie was taking shots with her phone. There was a professional photographer that was there as well. I've watched the stuff on Instagram for a while now, and he decided to leave the camera at home and come with his phone and just take photographs purely on his phone. But he had like them attachable lenses and stuff. So
a lot of cameras, or a lot of phones now have pretty decent cameras. Like there's films and stuff shot on. There was some marketing thing where a whole film was shot on an iPhone recently.
Yeah, like
There was
there's
Sundance
different-
had one like that. There was a
Yeah.
film fully
Yeah.
done with a. I think it was like a Huawei. I think it was a Mate 20. or something.
Shawshank
What
was done on a
iPhone
Nokia.
7.
3310.
Yeah.
Wait, did that thing have a camera?
I don't even think
I
so.
don't think it even had a
Um,
camera. All right. Well, we had boring weeks, it seems. or well, someone like we had a
Half
boring
boring,
week.
half
all
interesting.
thing. So we move straight on to our lovely film this week. This is going to be a tough one. Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank.
We had all seen this
Tom?
film, right?
Shawshank.
Yeah, except Mick, because he's a sap.
I
Nick,
had
you've
not
never
seen
seen
it.
this.
Cannot believe
It's
you've
okay,
never
so
seen it.
I'm
I've
gonna
got to
have to ask
clarify a
you.
point. After having watched it, I
Mhm.
had seen
The end.
probably up to no, I had seen up to maybe an hour and 10 minutes in, kind of where they get the beers, where he gets them the
yeah.
beers for doing the roof
Mhm.
by helping your man with his tax or his one-time deductible
Do you
tax
trust
thing.
your wife?
Yeah. Could have phrased that a little better.
I know. Like seriously, he was asking.
And
for
then
it.
I actually had seen other bits and pieces from the film. I don't know whether it was out of context or, in passing when it's flicking. So I'd
Mhm.
seen more of this film than
you thought.
I had thought. The other annoying thing, and I guess I can't really complain because the film is 24 years old at this
25.
point.
25 this year. Yeah.
94 is
1994.
95.
94.
94.
It was out in 94. It was lost the 95 Oscar for Best Picture to Forrest Gump.
Yeah,
I
so
read that.
I thought I looked at
That's
the
a
trailer on,
tough
it said
ask,
released
though.
in
Like, although the
And
95.
film-
Pulp Fiction.
September 23rd, 94 was the wide release of it.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I must have been looking up the wrong Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, Shawshank Redemption 2.
Yeah.
The Shawshankening.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
Redemption of
Shawshank
Shawshank.
Redemption. You were looking
You
up
were
the
looking at the
Shawshank,
porn, yeah.
the porno.
but yeah, like, again, I can't complain because it's a 25-year-old film, but I knew, and we're kind of jumping into it, but
It's okay.
I don't think the film was impactful for me because I knew how it ended. Like, I knew there was no mystery in the did he escape or not, because through osmosis or whatever else.
You
Kinda
knew.
like, yeah, it's
And the
kinda like
DVD
people-
menu as well, from what
and
I've
the
heard.
DVD menu.
It
yeah.
would be one hell of a waste of a film if he didn't get out.
Was that one of Joe's facts?
Well,
That he got out of prison.
No, the
Rubbish fact.
the DVD menu.
Oh no, that was a little story I was telling them.
We talked about this before, yeah.
The first time I ever watched the film
But
was on DVD, and the DVD menus
Yeah.
was him on his knees in the rain
Yeah.
out the tunnel. That was the menu.
Well,
Before
the
you even
poster
press
was
play.
that shot as well.
The poster is that shot
Yeah.
as well. I don't think they really wanted to hide the fact that he does get out of prison. It's not
I
like
don't think the poster wasn't that at the time, though. That's a 5 or 10 years down the road, or even the DVD cover.
Well, it's the same as the poster for Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things in Planet of the Apes is, like, literally in the background, taking up most of the poster
is
for the average DVD you'll buy now is the Statue of Liberty.
oh yeah.
But
Which
it-
I didn't know that either when I saw that movie. And that was a fucking huge
Uh-huh.
twist. Like, that was
So
mind-bending.
yeah, like of the three major films I can think of that we watched, not recently, but like over the course of this podcast, or have mentioned this podcast, Planet of the Apes, I knew the twist.
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption, I knew the twist, and I actually just recently watched Psycho, and I knew the twist. So
Yeah.
coming back to films that are older,
Wait till you watch Titanic.
Yeah.
Huge twist in the end, man.
spaceship.
One of my
that thing
favourite-
literally cracks in half.
Yeah,
I think
the
I've-
woman's a bitch.
I think I've mentioned this before, but one of my favourite Facebook statuses ever, which is like, oh, lads, if you watch Titanic backwards, about this submarine that rescues a load of lads from the Atlantic Ocean and brings them back to Cork. Brilliant. Oh, I like that.
I love things like that.
Yeah.
It just makes
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we jumped way ahead. So I had seen parts of this before to answer your original question.
That's fair. That's fair. So this is one of those films. I couldn't find many things I was really pissed off with, but trying to critique it, I did find a few. Right from the beginning, there is literally no evidence against him, other than we think you did it.
There's also the bullets with his fingerprints at the crime scene,
No, the
and his
bullets.
footprints in the mud.
Yeah, he went and then went home.
Yeah, but there's still bullets matching what the people were killed with at the crime scene with his
Well,
fingerprints.
they couldn't
on
match the bullets because the gun was
They
never
couldn't
found.
match it to the gun, but they had the same bullets.
I don't think it was
There
the
was
same
a-
bullets.
There was enough evidence there, I think.
And it was the 40s as well.
Yeah, also.
Yeah,
the
that's the
1940s.
other thing you got to remember. It's like, well, I think it was him, so fuck it, let's
So
put him away.
I didn't know
Like-
this was set in the 40s,
Yeah,
which is weird. I thought it was like a 1970s, 1980s
Right.
thing, because again, or I'd forgotten because obviously I've seen the first half.
The first little bonus or point for our little 10 questions I'm going to ask for our reviews.
Joe's
comes from
10
that.
questions.
If anyone can get it. If not, there's no points given to failures. But
Okay.
what year did Andy go down in?
Well, I have it in front of me, so I
What
can't really
year
answer
did
this
he
one.
go to Shawshank? No
Uh,
Googling.
1924.
I have the plot summary in front of me because I watched this about a month ago. So
I'm going to say it was 40, off the top of my head, 47.
Okay.
well done. He's correct, I believe.
He
He's
is.
correct. Yeah,
That's
47.
the first point.
It's almost like I watched this film last night.
I'm just going to minimize this now, so I don't have any more
Nice.
shit
Nicely
in front of
done.
me.
Yeah, so like again, it's hard to kind of come at this and critique it. So, I mean, what were the kind of, you guys have seen it before, so
Mhm.
do you remember when you first watched it what you were kind of expecting? Because from reading up about this, it was one of these films that was a critical success, but didn't really find an audience.
Until
It
it
seemed
went on
like-
home video.
Yeah, it seemed like it was like a box office, if not a flop of disappointment.
Yeah, that was kind of that's one of my facts, but I can like
It
definitely
made its
have
money
some
back, but
backing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a complete another box office failure, like when it came out.
It doubled it,
It-
although it did. Just to say, the budget was $25 million dues.
18,
And it
if
made-
I remember.
Well, 25 is what Wikipedia says. I don't know how true that is. And then it made a box office of 58.3. So it doubled
So
its money.
success.
So
It did, yeah.
definitely
so
successful.
I
but-
have the breakdown of that, and the original box office when it actually came out was 18 million, which didn't even cover the production.
Oh, really?
So they were really
Okay.
disappointed in that. They got a further 10 to 12 million from home release after the Oscars the next year.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a year until after that film really hit home of, oh fuck, you know
Yeah.
what? This
should watch
this
this.
is huge. You need to watch this. I think it was bad timing. Supposedly around the time that it did come out, a lot of seminal, what we would put as now classics came out. Like you
Yeah.
look at that Oscar list that they had the year of it. You were saying Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
It fought Forrest Gump for
Forrest
the best
Gump.
picture. Like
Was it nominated for Best
like,
Picture?
It was nominated,
Mhm.
yeah.
Right.
But that's a tough category. I would have hated to be in the meeting when it's like, right, you got to choose Shawshank, Pulp Fiction, or Forrest Gump. It's like, no.
Well,
It's
Pulp,
not, it's not
Pulp
meeting,
Fiction.
is it?
Pulp Fiction are those three. But if Pulp Fiction lost to Shawshank, I'd have been a lot happier with that than Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump won that year, right?
Yeah.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad. Again, we've talked about this before. Not that it's a bad film, but
you
you know.
telling me it lost to 2 hours and 22 minutes of Morgan Freeman's voice?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, god damn.
The Oscar for Best Narration, Morgan Freeman again. He'd be like the like the Helen. What's her, the Helen Mirren? No,
Helen
the-
Mirren?
No, not Helen Mirren. The other one that I want to bang.
Judi Dench.
No, not Judi Dench. The other one. What do I never
You
remember? her
love
name.
old actresses.
No, just this one in particular. She's
Sigourney
amazing.
Weaver.
No, not Sigourney Weaver.
Marilyn Monroe.
Susan Sarandon.
Well, yeah, hell yes, but not her. No,
Bob Geldof.
Meryl Streep. That's
Meryl
right.
Streep.
Streep.
Oh yeah, you're obsessed with her,
Oh,
aren't
she's
you?
a lush. In and out and put the kettle on
I don't know how many times in this podcast you've told me which way you'd bang her.
every way.
Every
That's
which
the
way.
answer.
Like
Every which way but
Yes.
loose. But with no ape involved or Clint Eastwood. Anyway, yes. So
You'd seen this a good few times.
I'd seen
I
it
take
lots
it.
and lots of times. Yeah. No, the first time, like you're asking Mick, what was our initial impression when we saw her, what we're expecting? Honestly, I don't know because I was a teenager. So you're talking about like up to 20 years ago that I saw it for the
Mhm.
first time. So
I can't remember.
I
my
can't
first
really remember,
impression.
but I do remember that that part where he rips the poster, where the warden rips the poster of Raquel Welch off the wall. That absolutely fucking blew my mind. I was not expecting it
Mhm.
whatsoever.
There's so many moments in that like I think one memory I do remember from watching it the first time, and it's gone back a bit. I did not know of the things like him being raped and stuff in prison.
Yeah,
The boys chasing him down.
the sisters.
The sisters, yeah. Like that I did not expect. I remember being kind of shocked by that.
There's
as
more
a
detail
teenager I
of
was.
that in the book as well. There's more
Yeah.
detail of that. Like he has to like use toilet paper in his in
Yeah.
his pants and stuff.
'Cause he's
It's like
he's
basically
bleeding as well.
It's
isn't
like
he?
having- Yeah, it was like having a period every time he got raped by the sisters in the book. Like pretty much that's literally how Stephen King describes it. So it's pretty grim. And the only other thing I remember, like it's one of the most faithful adaptations of a book ever.
I've heard, yeah.
Because the book is a novella, so it's only like I think it was 113 pages or something like that. It's
Mm.
very short.
Mhm.
And the only other thing I remember was like Andy's cellmate, like at one time or another, like he'd often
They
said there was
they
a
didn't
fierce.
do that in the film.
Yeah, he
I
said
don't
there was like
understand that.
there was like a first draft on the thing. A lot of now this is obviously after the fact after he's escaped. Like whereas like, now that I think of it, like, he always complained there was an awful draft in the fucking room and stuff. It's like,
So
oh, you know why?
in the book, he has a cellmate that doesn't notice he's digged this giant hole in
I
the
can't
wall.
remember the ins and outs of it.
Oh,
Do you know? I don't know. Like obviously, like
because that sounds a little far fetched.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm thinking that as well.
Yeah.
It was like, how do you hide a giant hole for 20-something
No,
I know.
19 years.
I could
Was
very
it
well
19?
be misremembering
Mhm.
some of those details, but I do remember that was one of the lines in it. There's drafts in the place. But anyway,
Yeah. I think for me, so just kind of thinking about my impressions of it, it seems to me a film where not a lot of major, I'm not going to say major consequence, but like not a lot of, like there's not a lot of major action beats,
Mm-hmm.
but it still tells a really interesting kind of personal, effective story.
Yeah.
Even though it's these kind of minute victories, and I think that's kind of it
That's a
seems
good
to be
way
what the
of putting
film
it.
is about. It's like it's as how many times can he get these little wins?
yeah,
So like
The music. would be an
playing the
example.
music,
Like,
yeah.
or helping the guard with the taxes to get everybody beer on the roof.
We're getting the library and all that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
the persistence of like saying he's gonna like write a letter a day, and then constantly writing a letter a day, and then
yeah.
deciding just that line when he gets the $100 check, and it's just like, oh, it took 6 years. I'm gonna write 2 a day now.
Well, no, I think it
you're
was-
crazy enough
Sorry,
to
that's
do
when
it
he
too.
gets the book.
It was I think it was every week
Mhm.
or something like that. And he's like, it's like, well done. And he's like, well, it only took 6 years. I'm going to write them every day.
It's
That's
fantastic. Like,
Mhm.
that guard has one of my favorite lines in the whole thing. He's like, right, I'm going to go pinch a loaf.
yeah,
And when I come back, I want this all gone. It's like,
Yeah.
pinch a fucking loaf. That is amazing.
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh, I love that. I love that line so much.
yeah.
I think one thing I take away from rewatching this as well, and reviewing it,
Mhm.
it's a really, I never noticed them. It's a real character-driven film in a sense that every character has their thing. Like, perfect example is what the first person you meet really is Red,
Mhm.
and it becomes nearly his best friend. But you've also got the whole gang who kind of have their own little thing. Like the guy, I can't remember the thing, but he loves Hank Williams, the music.
Mhm.
And that's constantly mentioned throughout the thing, and callbacks to the stuff said
And when
20
they get
years
their
previous.
when they get the record in the library of all the
And he's
collection
listening
of Hank
to him,
Williams, and
yeah.
he's listening to it.
I thought that was good. Like,
Do you reckon
you
they
had
could
all
ever-
these moments.
Do you reckon they'll ever reboot this or maybe have a prequel? They could call it just about Red. They could call it the Red Dead Redemption.
They should make a game called that. That'd be a
Question:
great name
How
for a
did
game.
how did Red get his name?
Yeah.
That's a terrible
His
idea.
last name.
Maybe it's because I'm Irish.
Yeah, there's a bonus point for the real reason though. What was it you said?
It's because of his last name.
What's his last name?
Was it Redmond? No.
No, but I'll. You know what?
Redmonds.
I'll give
Close
it.
enough.
I'll give it.
I thought he said it was because he's Irish.
He says
He
because he's
did,
Irish,
but
but his
it's not
name
his
is
actual-
Redmonds.
Reading.
Reading. Is the name.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even realize there was a question there.
Yeah.
You answered it anyway. Yes, that is the
Mhm.
reason for it. Maybe it's because I'm Irish. It's not. In the book, if I remember correctly, in novella, he's Irish. He's a white Irishman.
Oh, I can't remember.
That's one thing that was in. I'm stealing my own fact. Fuck. He's a white Irishman in the book. He's
Yes.
his friend. So it's completely different. But you
Yeah.
know what? Morgan Freeman's voice just completely frees up that whole thing. I really don't care.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
I love that character.
yeah.
Fantastic.
He's
It's
not-
it's a good the story. The film works out well by having Red as the kind of linchpin narrator and not telling the story from Andy's perspective.
That is a weird one. I realised that it's not.
But it makes because I mean, if the film's told from Andy's perspective, you know from the first day that he's starting to do the tunneling, so you can't have that big shock thing. But
True.
like Red is the one because the film opens after the first prison scene you see is like Red going into the parole board and being rejected.
Yeah.
And then that's a constant through line through the film where he's
Mhm.
kind of just because he's real hopeful that first time he goes in, but then the more times he goes in, he's just getting further and further like this is never going to happen. I'm going to become institutionalized, as he says.
I think, yeah, but the third time on it, it's really almost like Uniform, where he's like, yeah, I'm a changed man. No, a thing. Yes, I feel bad. Thing. Well, at the start he was like, "Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. Every
he
day,
really
sir."
wants-
Thing. By the end of it, as he has that epic kind of, like, you know what?
He doesn't give a crap.
I
It's
don't
like,
give a shit.
I don't give a shit. Stamp your
Mhm.
papers. And you can see full on remorse in that speech. Like, there's things like, yeah, I know. And you know what?
Mhm.
I've paid for it over
Yeah.
and over again for the last, like, 40 years. It's
Mhm.
like, so do what you want. I'm either going to die in here or I'm going to get out. And I thought, I love that speech. It's just fucking fun. Because he's lost his best friend, who's escaped from
Yeah.
prison. And just that moment. I love it. Brooks.
Poor Brooks. Yeah, that's a hard scene to watch because I knew that was going up, and that never really gets any easier to watch. Although he has one of my favorite lines after he escapes, or after he gets let out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the world seems to have gotten itself in a big damn hurry. Like, I love that line. It's a great line.
It took me a while to realise what he was kind of talking about. It wasn't until I watched it this time that Andy asks him how long you've been doing the library, and he goes, I got here in 1905 or
Mhm.
something like that, and I made library in 1912.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's been in from 1905 when, like, the first major automobile wasn't until around 1910, which was the Ford Model T.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
well, that's he
in
said
his
when he was
retrospective,
younger.
when he's younger, he
Yeah.
saw a car once, and that now they're everywhere.
Yeah.
like, to come into a world in the 1960s? Was he in it early? Or would he got out?
I can't
late
remember.
60s or early 60s, I think.
I don't think it
Anyway.
was that late.
It might have been the 50s,
Yeah,
but seeing the cars, like, and
Mhm.
think you can see it in his face. Actually, his face on the bus, the fear
Yeah.
of when he's let
Just
out,
sitting
just holding
there.
on to his briefcase, terrified, is just shocking for an old man to see.
But it's a really touching scene because it's like this guy, and you don't really know what he did to be in prison. Obviously, he was in there for 40 plus years. It was something serious.
Yeah,
But then
I have that in the facts.
to go out into the real world and kind of just be left to his own devices, and it kind of crops up again when Red gets the same job when he gets on parole. You know, not being he can't. What was the line he said? He can't take a piss without being told to do it.
Yeah, okay.
40 years I've been
40
asking when to
years.
piss. I couldn't squeeze a drop, but I'd say so.
That's it.
But yeah, like that scene with the first parolee it's a real tough watch because again, you've seen him in the prison and he's happy in kind of that sense, but then gets out, has no idea what to do, and you can just see this descent down and down. And you think that maybe, okay, he's gone off to find something else, and he puts the hat on, then he carves his name in there and just hangs himself, and it's...
I do remember that moment the first time I ever watched it, and when he was carving it, I was like, oh, cool. He must be... honest to God, it must have been innocence, but it was just I did not know or expect thing. And when I saw it, I remember for the first time seeing that table rock, I was like, you know, that kind of just shock of
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. That was just shocking. Like, I even this time watching it, I think I looked over at Ken. I was like, that scene is still hard to watch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It never gets any
He's such a
easier.
lovable
And
character.
Yeah, it
that it's
speaks to
just-
the performance as well, because he wasn't a huge part in the prison. Like, he has the bird in his chest pocket when Andy first
the name
sits
of the bird?
down.
Jake.
Yay.
Andy first sits down, and like he's obviously the librarian, but there's not in a huge amount. But once he gets out and it follows him for that 5 or 10 minutes, you really kind of feel his struggle. And then when he ultimately kills himself, it's a real downer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a big thing as well for a film or even a director to put that in, is where it's like, right, we're going to take 10 minutes away from Andy and Red and everything. It's like, we're going to focus just on this character. And it's
Just to show how hard it is for life when you get out of prison after being in for so long. Like,
Yeah.
because how easily times can change, and he
Mhm.
just got lost in the world.
I think
can
it's
you imagine
probably the best example of you do go away for life.
Well,
When
can you
look at it,
imagine?
it's like, imagine going away and 50
What's
years
the
later coming out
line-
and going, what
What's the
the
line
fuck?
Red has? It's
They
like,
send you away for life, and
or
that's
at
exactly
least
what they take.
yeah,
Yeah.
at least the part of it that matters.
Yeah.
Like the world, and that line you said with "world got himself in a hurry."
Yeah.
It's like,
Could you imagine, like, we're all, like, in our, late 20s,
Your
early 30s.
40s, we're 20s.
What age you're not 30 yet, Ken? Like, so
No.
we're all, like, late 20s, early 30s. Can you imagine, like, now? Like, if I went to prison now at age 33 and not getting out till age 83,
Mhm.
can you fucking imagine? Like, even how much the world has changed. And we talked about it the other week. even how much the world has changed in the last 15, 20 years. Even the last like YouTube didn't exist 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't have broadband in
Mobile phones only started.
Yeah.
Smartphones only started 2006.
I didn't have broadband till 2007. Do you know that's only 12 years ago?
But it's insane, isn't it?
It's hard to even imagine what
Like,
what life was like
so
before
imagine-
that, because I'm
imagine-
so used to it now.
Going to prison in the early 90s and going, right, you're doing 30 years.
Yeah.
And, like coming out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit,
What
what?
the fuck happened to the kids?
What the fuck do you mean Kurt Cobain died? Apparently they cut me off from news as well.
Yeah.
I was in there.
But even
Bruce
then,
Jenner's
it's
a woman?
Yeah.
What? He was an Olympian. He was on my cereal
I had
boxes.
a poster of Marilyn Monroe, and there's a woman called Jessica Negri in the world.
Yeah.
But
you
even
can't
then,
imagine
and they
it.
kind of hit on it in that scene as well. It's like he just seemed so totally and utterly alone as well. Because like, if you're in prison for 40 years, when you come out, all your friends are in prison.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Yeah.
like you have a
He
social
probably went in
group.
at like, what, 18? Probably.
Yeah, so
Probably
obviously
something like that, yeah.
no kids, no
red.
possibly no
Um,
siblings.
Yeah,
Brooks.
when you look at his picture, even on the form when they're stamping it, he looks like he's in his teens.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's because he that person is. kind of. He's
Just
actually 18.
Kind of.
Could I touch
What
on
age are they, Joe?
He was 18.
to touch on some of the performances as well? Obviously, we had Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman in the kind of title roles. They were great.
Yeah.
But the guy who plays the warden, I can't recall his
He's a
name.
great
Dolph
actor.
Lundgren.
He's a great fucking
He's
actor.
one of the, like, I can't remember his name, but he's one of those character actors that you see in this kind of role, and he just excels at it, at being this kind of horrid presence that you know is always
Joe, he actually
Bob
reminds
Gunton.
me.
Bob Gunton.
He reminds me of Jack Swagger
What?
from WWE.
You're thinking of the not
you're
the
saying
warden,
The warden. Sorry, I'm thinking of the security
the
bloke.
security
Oh,
Oh, he's
no.
amazing
Yeah.
as well, though.
Jack
Yeah.
Swagger.
guy. He is amazing as well, though. I have to
Yeah.
say that actor.
But
is
that
amazing.
that presence that the warden has, and just even to see, because he starts off all nice mannered, and here's religion, and you know the book is the path to salvation, or
Bible
whatever he says,
thumping
yeah.
kind of
But then
guy.
he kills the Tommy in cold
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
Like Gil
the-
Bellows' character as well, like, you know, aka Billy from Animal Beale.
Mhm.
He's brilliant in this as well. I thought he was
Billy-
Billy from Animal Beale. Gil Bellows.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was excellent in it as well. As Tommy. And I think just Brooks topping himself, coupled with Gil Bellows, like his one possible sliver of a chance of getting the fuck out of there and being, you know, having his name cleared.
Yeah.
Like that just, you know, Brooks dying and Tommy being like blatantly murdered, just, you know, totally added to
Mm.
the
But-
satisfaction of
Can any of you remember the true killer's name?
oh no. No, I
I was
can't.
going to say Saxon, but it begins with an S. Saxon or Sasquatch or...
Samsonite. I was way off.
No,
Yeah.
Ken has like wants to say one, but he doesn't.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
On the tip of
So
your
no one
bum,
gets
you
any
say.
points on that one.
Yeah.
His name was Blanche.
Blanche.
Blanche. That's... I
From
was
Coronation
way off.
Street.
Man,
But,
I was way
Yeah.
off.
You're from Blanche, or
Yeah, no,
But
he's
you've
from Carrick
just
Mines.
coming back to Tommy, you do feel really bad for him because, you know,
Fuck, man.
he came in, he obviously he said he was in and out of different
Since he was
facilities.
a kid, like,
And
yeah.
then he has a kid on the outside and he wants to kind of fly right. And, you know, Tim Robbins
and he
Andy
puts him
Dufresne
on that path.
helps him, teaches him to read,
Yeah.
passes the
bar-
high school
the-
equivalence test.
Fucking makes him, you know, realize that there's more, like, that he
Yeah,
can actually
there's-
make a bit more of himself, and he can
Exactly.
actually make a proper go of things.
And then just gets murdered in cold blood so the
Yeah.
warden can continue his money laundering.
Reign of
The
terror.
warden's
Hmm.
speech to Andy when he's in the hole after he kills Tommy
Mhm.
is fucking phenomenal.
yeah,
And he goes through it like he goes, "I will cast you down with the sodomites."
Mhm.
yeah,
And there's this whole long speech where the camera
Yeah.
is just staring right into his eyes while he does the whole thing. It is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the point where you realise after the conclusion of the film, I think that was where Andy decided, okay, I'm out of there.
I'm done, yeah.
I'm,
That's it.
I'm out of here. I'm doing my escape.
I'm going to
That's-
crawl through that
But if-
tunnel
yeah,
of shit and I'm
gonna
getting the
travel
fuck
that
out of
tunnel
here.
shit.
but it makes his escape no, those two things in particular, like Tommy and Brooks being killed, like both of them dying, that makes his victory all the more sweeter.
That and the whole bank visiting thing and posting him the Bible with the chisel
that was
cut out of it.
Perfect timing for the police to show up. Like, that's a good postal service.
That actually, if you
And
look
he
closely the night before, instead of putting the ledger, which he takes,
Swaps it out,
they do
the Bible is swapped into his safe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they
I
showed that at the end.
fucking love that.
But even just the...
you don't really look at a man's shoes.
That's one of my... I was just going to say, that's one of my favourite
That's
lines.
great.
The warden simply didn't notice. Neither did I. How often does how often do you really look at a man's shoes?
So,
yeah.
we move on to our final thoughts of that film.
We do facts first.
Oh, we can indeed. I didn't know if we were moving on to which one. Ooh.
And why the
Silence. Oh,
So
of course.
We're not moving on to the facts.
Where's the facts,
it's because
man?
of this. There we go.
That's a fact.
Facts, Max.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Technical
Alright.
snafus.
You're probably getting
All
no
right.
facts, ma'am.
Fact number 1.
Okay.
Andy and Red's opening chant in the prison yard is in which Red is throwing baseball took 9 hours to shoot.
Why?
His
Morgan
arm
Freeman
was
talked
probably
in an
dead.
interview. He threw the baseball for the entire 9 hours without
Jesus.
a word of complaint. But he said he showed up the next day and he had an arm in a sling. He actually had muscle damage.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
9 hours for one scene
That's
just
a
to
lot.
get that right.
Like,
Woo.
I've done all day softball blitzes and my arm just be killing me at the end of it. And that's not 9 hours of constant throwing a baseball.
Well,
Mine does be 9 minutes of playing with my balls and I'm a bit...
You hear about those
I'm a
kind
bit
of scenes
sleepy.
before where you're like, oh, that must have been an easy scene. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, we
How did it
repeated
take
that for
9
12
hours?
hours.
But
The
how?
Simpsons go. We've got to shoot it again and again and again.
Yeah.
And again and again and again and again. We
But it's-
got the take.
But it seems... Yeah.
It took 12 hours, but
we got it. But how... I don't understand. It
Okay.
seems like such a simple scene. Why would it take 12 hours? Frank
Anyway.
Darabont has some answering. to
Yeah,
do.
he has
That's-
some answering to do.
Number
Jesus.
2, Stephen King never cashed in his $1,000 check for rights to the film. Several years after the movie came out, King got the check framed and mailed it to Frank Darabont with a note inscribed, "In case you ever need bail money. Love, Steve."
Jesus Christ. Well, he definitely doesn't need it now.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. I love that. Yeah, early on in Stephen King's thing, I had to look it up. He only took like next to nothing for the rights to a film to his thing.
Yeah.
Like Shawshank Redemption was the Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption was the
Yeah.
name of it, and it wasn't exactly. He goes, "Oh, you want to make a film? Yeah, sure, whatever. It's only like 100 pages or whatever. There
Well,
you go."
Yeah.
Did we not say like last week or something that he writes
Short stories?
Short
Short
stories,
stories.
yeah.
What
a
I
guy.
didn't. I know. I didn't realize he took such a small paycheck for movies as well. Though that's kind of amazing.
Some of them,
I don't know if he
obviously.
always does
Some
that.
of the big
Yeah.
books, I'd say he takes things, but
He'd want to have been fucking well paid for the travesty that they made of the Dark Tower series.
I haven't seen that film.
I heard they're awful.
Bad?
I could be.
Oh,
I've heard
God.
they're shite. Yeah.
All right,
The book's great. The film, not so much.
Yeah.
Number 3, the mugshots, which Ken mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
One thing.
I don't know what you're talking
Of a
about.
young-looking Red that are attached to his parole papers are actually pictures of Morgan Freeman's younger son,
Oh.
Alfonso Freeman.
No way.
Alfonso had a cameo in the film. If you remember, as the new ones are coming in, you see a guy with fresh fish today, fresh fish. We're reeling them in.
Oh,
Remember
that's his
him?
son.
That's Morgan Freeman's son.
No way.
A year after the Shawshank Redemption, he also appeared as a fingerprint technician in another Morgan Freeman movie, 7.
So the whole time they were ejecting the wrong person.
You're rejecting his son, yeah.
They just went so racist and said every black guy looks the same.
Yeah. Oh, him again. God, he's aged horribly. No, denied.
Just take that one single form out.
Yeah.
One thing. Well, this is one I really like. When Andy goes to the library to begin work as Brooks' assistant and Brooks' crow, Jake is squawking. Tim Robbins, at the time his line, took multiple takes. "Hey Jake, where's Brooks?" so that the crow wouldn't squawk over him. Since the bird could not be trained to squawk on cue, Robbins was able and trained to be able to time. Oh, that's written really weird. Robbins was able to time his line perfectly by learning the bird's squawking patterns,
No way.
to which writer and director Frank Darabont praised him and also thought he was a bit odd.
That's strange.
It's like, oh,
that he
well
was
done, you
able
odd cunt.
to-
You're
I think
a
Tim
weird
Robbins is
one.
one of those secretly, but probably not so secretly, really good actors.
Yeah. Do you ever see there's a side note, but do you ever see the Hudsucker Proxy?
No.
The Coen Brothers film. It is one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. But anyway, yeah.
Okay. Will I keep going with them?
Yeah,
I'm
no,
saying,
keep
yeah.
Skip the rest of
I
it.
didn't know it was
That
things
meant
like
1 minute.
the film's initial gross of $18 million could not even cover the cost of production. As we said, it did another 10 millions in the wake of the Oscars, but it was fully deemed as a box office failure for years to come. It only got a resurgence after going live on many TV channels as things. So
Yeah.
it's such a shock for this film, though. Like, it just makes no sense. One of the reasons why the full title of the Stephen King novella, Rita Hayworth in Shawshank Redemption, was not employed was because there was a perception in Hollywood that the film was actually going to be there was going to be a biopic of Rita Hayworth. Indeed, Frank Darabont even received solicitations of audition requests from several actresses and supermodels of agents on it, which is kind of nice. Let's see. Frank Darabont decided not to have the deleted scenes on the DVD released of the film because he was embarrassed by them.
Oh,
Really?
He felt I didn't want to use them, so he doesn't want to be seen publicly.
What a dick.
That's a shame. Anyway.
And I'll finish with my favourite one here. Brooks. Anyone know Brooks, although it never
Brooks.
directly stated in the film, in the original script, they had Brooks was in prison for allegedly murdering his wife and daughter after a losing streak of poker.
What?
Jesus.
I
okay.
know.
I think that's
Which
a bit
felt a
harsh.
bit-
Nobody in Shawshank
Like-
actually
Yeah,
committed a
they're
crime,
all
though.
innocent. Haven't you heard?
Haven't you heard? We're all
Apart from
innocent.
Red. Only
Lawyer
gets man at
fuck-
Shawshank.
Lawyer fucked me. All right.
Okay.
I love the way. I love the way that like kind of completely changes that was said to him. And then
Yeah.
he got to say the line to somebody else later on during the movie.
It was to
brilliant.
Tommy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just at the table, and was like,
Yeah,
"We're all innocent here."
and all the lads laughing about it. Like,
Lawyer
it's just a
fucked
great
me.
turnaround. I really like it.
He
Yeah.
looks at Hadley, just go like, "Yeah."
Do we want to rock onto the list?
Sure.
You know what? You just made the list. Oh, no. Oh, here we go.
Here we go, indeed.
I love that. I do. I really do.
Do we have any initial thoughts?
7.
Like,
Oh,
is that I'm going to say, sometimes I have to check, is that a serious answer or is that a...
Did you add the
do we all
the-
agree
wait,
it's
there's none
going
last
to
week,
be in
sorry.
the top 10?
Yes.
Probably.
I haven't had a proper look, but I'll tell you if
I
the
thought you
list
meant
is
at
up
the
to date.
movie.
Oh no, I didn't watch it. It didn't bother. Yeah, No Distance Left to Run is on the list, so the list is as it should be.
Oh, Mick is deciding.
I'm in a bit of a pickle here.
Okay.
It's either 6 or 7 for me. Like, I don't care once it's like above or below Die Hard.
I would go as high as 3.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, so Schindler's List, it's not top. Like, Schindler's List is still, for the performances and message and just how that film was shot and put together, Schindler's List is still top. I still love Jaws as well. I can't fault Jaws. I don't
Yeah.
know, like, and anywhere there, like, there's so little between Back to the Future, Pulp Fiction, and Shawshank Redemption, and they're so very different films. Like, if I want a upbeat comedy action film, I'm gonna go to Pulp Fiction, or I'm gonna go to Back to the Future. If I want a 90s gangster type action film, I'm gonna go Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
But if I want a kind of prison drama which has hints of kind of like historical in it, I'm gonna go for the Shawshank Redemption.
You know what? I don't even need to add much. I would put it as number 3 myself.
I would agree with Ken on this. I'd say 6 is a good spot.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I agree with the lads.
Oh, really?
I was being,
fair
I was
enough.
being positive when I said 7. I thought you were going to battle on that.
No.
No.
Three,
I knew
yeah.
I'd fight between.
Yeah.
I had a fight in my head between Schindler's List and Jaws, and would I put it above Jaws or below it? Was
there's
where my fight was.
Okay, so how about this 1994 classic drops in at number 4? Meet in the middle, lads. Definitely not the middle.
Oh, wait, so sorry, you said 3, so above Back to the Future.
I
Yes.
mean, I was saying I could go as high as 3, but I could see arguments for 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally a pubic hair between each of these films.
Yeah, I would.
Depending on
one
how
way to
coarse
put
your
it.
hair is.
100% true. You know, if you wanted to push it back thing, I don't think more than 4 it should be.
Yeah.
I really don't. It needs to be in that.
I think
Maybe Birdman is too new to make a call on it, but I still love Birdman so
I
much.
think
Yeah.
Birdman gets a lot of praise, rightly so, for how well put together that film is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love
Do you mean
everything
it's all
about that.
one take?
Yeah. Well,
I
Fake
just
one
love
take.
I just love
They just
everything about
synced
that film
the
though.
audio.
Fake take.
Yeah. Like our podcast.
but yeah, it's
Um,
kind
Talk
of.
about-
I mean, you mentioned before we start recording, if Pulp Fiction had have lost the Oscar in '95 to Shawshank Redemption, you wouldn't have been as upset as
Yeah.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which I've maintained, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I can see, and yeah, I think for overall kind of message, kind of an emotional impact, I'd say it pips Pulp Fiction.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I
just-
probably prefer it to Jaws as well. That's the other thing. Like, but
No.
If someone said to me,
couldn't
which
put
two
it
do you
above
want to
Jaws.
watch?
Yeah.
Like Shawshank Redemption or Jaws? I would pick Shawshank.
Shawshank,
I'd
yeah.
pick Jaws.
I would.
I'd
I
pick
love.
Jaws.
Don't get me wrong.
I'd be
Jaws
more in
is
the mood of a
fantastic.
Jaws than a Shawshank. I
Mhm.
think you have
Yeah.
to be in the right frame of mind to be able to watch Shawshank because it's very
Intense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Jaws,
it's like a
just
music festival.
Oh,
It's
the shark. Oh, it's a shark.
So
oh, there he is.
I think that sounds like we're we're leaning on 3 then.
I think 3 makes the most sense
I think so.
based on how we've discussed here. I wouldn't go above Jaws. Like I couldn't. Again, I will go low. Like I could see below Back to the Future and I could see below Pulp Fiction. I wouldn't go above Jaws.
Okay.
So take with that what you will.
So it's gonna take the top
I think it's
3
3.
spot.
I think 3.
So it's gonna drop Back to the Future closer to the back of the list.
Are we?
Yeah, it's 1. It's literally going to 4th place, Ken. Bye Back to the Future.
Back in the
Get,
list, we're like,
Take it
get
out
behind
completely.
Fatal Deviation. You
better look next year,
dart.
lads.
Ooh.
Jaws, it nearly overtook
are we
it. That was a
saying-
close boy.
Are we saying 3?
Oh, 3.
You guys are saying 3, so I don't have a fucking choice. I know 3 is fine.
Okay,
3 is
say
good.
3.
Honestly, it's fine.
Wow, number 3.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about it on the way home. I was like, this movie will 100% make the top 10.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Had to.
Oh, there
There's-
was-
I knew it was top 5.
Yeah.
It was hands
I
down.
knew-
top
hands
ten.
I didn't even look at 11. Fuck it.
Final thoughts?
Yeah, still absolutely magic after all this time.
I forgot how long it was.
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
hours and 22.
We split it into
That's
2
what she said.
nights.
Did you?
Yeah,
I don't know
because we're kind of late home.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
So I don't have that luxury. So I was literally, I went home.
Why?
I have a kid.
What?
Oh yeah.
So I went home.
no,
I went
my
home.
bit.
I went home yesterday. Had to have dinner. Then I went to walk the dogs. Had to bring Nessa back in because we saw another dog and it gets her all riled up and I can't walk her when she's like that. Then walked the second dog, which she only got back this weekend.
So you had to sedate both dogs.
I didn't get started watching the film till 10:30,
Jesus.
That's
and
a
I
long
finished it up.
fucking time.
You
fucking-
didn't say the name of the
10
second
to
dog. I
1.
hope not.
Yeah.
You're not
Right.
referring to your wife.
No.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Ah,
She was minding the kid.
Had to
One
bring the
o'clock,
wife out
like.
for a walk.
Yeah. So I didn't get finished till 10:01,
Yeah,
which is
that's-
never ideal.
No, it is
No.
not.
But even in my sleep-induced state, I could still tell how good Shawshank Redemption is.
Yeah, I can't fault this. It's
No.
still,
Yeah.
after rewatching it so many times,
Mm-hmm.
it's still fucking good.
Yeah, it's still phenomenal.
I
Just a pity you knew with the
couldn't
twist,
even
but anyway.
nitpick at anything. Like, I
No.
really couldn't.
If-
Everything is
yeah.
really well played out.
Yeah.
You tried and we
Filmed
shot you down.
amazingly. Like, it's filmed amazingly. The actors knock it out of park. Every
All of
actor
them.
and every
Like
character
there's a
gets
few
its
little
place.
dodgy parts with the acting, but that's like the B actors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ah,
Like the one
the two guys that are not the main ones but are in the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the ones.
Yeah. The one with the really weird face. It's like, I'll give you 2 cigarettes for that. What did you fucking say?
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
for me the film would have had more impact had I not known the twist,
That was just the episode
Because-
said, yeah.
because the scene where he asked for the rope, and
Oh
then
shit! Yeah.
Red saying it's the least sleep he's ever had
Yeah.
in that, and then when Andy doesn't answer the next morning, obviously that's the real build up to, well, did he off himself? But then it was
Disappeared like a fart in the
no,
wind.
he escaped.
Yeah.
So that twist would have been
Oh, I was just
way
trying to think for a
more
sec what he used
amazing.
the rope for, and I was like, oh yeah, no.
It would have been
Yeah.
way more amazing had
It's just
I
for
not
a
known
wank.
that he escaped.
That he did that. Yeah.
Rope burn Mickey
Awesome.
on him.
Is that everybody's final thoughts?
Yeah.
All right.
10 out
Should
of
we
frickin'
disappear like a
Yeah.
fart in the wind into part 2?
10. Wait,
Can I just just before we move on, just
does
one
that mean
one
the
final
second
last thing I
part
promise.
doesn't happen because it's just like gone.
We're going to disappear into. Like,
Go
Keep
on.
on preaching. Just my favorite line in the whole thing. Do you know when the sisters are about to force him into a blowy, and he says,
Oh yeah.
I'll warn you, like I might bite down, and like you're you're not to get lockjaw.
Massive
It's like-
brain injury.
It's like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
how did you know that? I read it in a book. You know how to read? You ignorant fuck. Best line in the whole film.
Look of fear.
There are
on his
two
face, and I
things
love
that never
Samuel
happened.
L. Jackson just. Oh, not Samuel L. Jackson.
Two things never happened after that day.
Now who's being racist?
Yeah.
Sisters
Morgan.
never liked him.
Card Morgan Freeman
Yeah.
comes in with the whole, and he never did put his Mickey in his mouth.
I never
He knew.
Or
He
even
never
the fact
did
that
suck his dick.
he was put
He-
in the hospital, and then the guy went back to, and the other guy was put in the hole for the week.
Yeah.
Comes back to his cell, and 2 guards are in there, and they beat the fucking shit out of him.
And never walked
And he
again.
never walked again.
There's 2 things he never done again.
Yeah.
Touched a man or walked.
It's like,
I heard he lived out his days sucking food through a straw. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Part 2 then.
Fuck him.
Kids,
Fuck 'em.
yeah,
Part
yeah.
2.
Fuck 'em right in the ear.
All right.
Join
So-
us, won't you?
Before we go, Sissy Ward and Finglas birthday wishes to you, also to Linda Walsh, to Sean Byrne, Elaine Lonigan, to Colin in Cork, happy 27th, Catherine from New Zealand, now in Dollamore, happy birthday to you as well, Chris Leonard, get well soon, and finally Andy Dufresne in Ashbourne, he's 11 today. That's it, bye-bye.
And welcome to part 2, where it's our question of the week, which is, how would you break out of prison? But first, we're trying something new on the podcast today. We are doing movie news. Ooh. Aiden.
Yeah, we picked a good
I'll
week to
pass
do
them
it
to you.
because not last night. Sunday night was Hollywood's biggest night. It was the Oscars. So I thought I'd just do a quick roundup of some of the main categories. I'm not going to go through all the categories because that would take us about an hour.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to go for Best Picture, Best Director, the Best Actor categories, and Best Screenplays, and maybe Best Animation as well. And that's it.
Awesome.
So what we should do this? You want to do the just Best Picture and Best Director, or we go from animation up, or what?
Animation up for
Animation
the
up.
big one.
Okay. So for Best Animated Feature Film, the nominees were Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Mirai, and Ralph Breaks the Internet. Have you guys seen all of these or no?
No, I've seen one of them.
Ralph
Spider-Man?
One.
and Into the Spider-Verse.
Mhm.
Okay. I've seen all of them. Ken?
One.
Just Spider-Man?
Wreck it.
Have you seen Wreck-It? What did you think of it?
Great.
It was excellent,
Yeah,
I
wasn't it?
fucking loved it.
Yeah.
This year, like, there's some years where, like, there's shit that gets nominated. I'm like, how the fuck does this get nominated?
Mhm.
This kind of blows. But all 5 of these films
That's my
are...
thought every year.
Yeah, no, all 5 of these ones were excellent in
I was
fairness.
so excited to see The Incredibles, and then never got around to actually
I
get
still haven't
to
seen
see
it.
It's
I
excellent.
still haven't actually seen it.
One
But-
thing that I read before I saw it was that Jack steals the show, the baby in the movie, and he absolutely does. He's phenomenal in it. Just that character, he's hilarious. Yeah, that's a really, really good sequel.
I'm very, very. I know you're getting ahead of yourselves. I'm very happy Spider-Man won.
Yeah,
love
so was
that
I.
film.
I thought...
Spoiler alert. I was going to
Yes,
watch the Oscars
spoiler
later.
alert. No, when I watched...
Spider alert. The spider sense is tingling.
I think Spider-Man Into
That
the
was a great
Spider-Verse was the first one that I saw, and as soon as I
Mhm.
saw it, I was like, well, I'd be shocked if that's not nominated for Best Animated Feature
Mhm.
Film. And
Yeah.
even though the other 4 are all excellent in their own ways, I
Mhm.
was delighted to see that win, to be honest with you.
I've seen a lot of people say any other year Isle of Dogs would have been if not a shoe-in, a very close contender.
I think my second favourite would have been Ralph Breaks the Internet,
Mm-hmm.
because that was just
So
everything about that film was just fucking fantastic. Like they just even the use of all like those internet tropes and all that stuff, and then
Pop-ups.
just the pop-ups,
pop-up
everything
people
just
were brilliant in
Constantly
it.
just
Yeah.
noticing things going, oh my god, oh my god,
yeah,
oh my god, that.
and even
Oh,
just
look.
seeing like Twitter in the background and seeing this in the background over here, and
The licensing must have cost a
Google
fortune.
being like the biggest building in the
Yeah.
internet and stuff. It's
Yeah.
fucking genius.
and even just but like then again, because it's Disney. Like if you think about it, Disney owns fucking everything. So like
Yeah.
there's
Pretty much.
cameos from Star Wars characters and like, well, Disney owns Star Wars, so
Yep.
I can't imagine that
All the
would necessarily cost money. And
princesses.
the princess scene was
That
fucking
was
brilliant.
So good.
Like at one
I've
point,
heard that's very good.
the girl
Yes,
from
it is.
Frozen, I haven't seen Frozen, but the girl from Frozen, instead of, she has a Nike style t-shirt, instead of saying just do it, it says just let it go.
Yeah.
Just even
They
little
all
little
had
things
those
like that. Yeah,
things
they
as
all
well,
did. Yeah,
like,
but
yeah.
that was really
I
funny.
love that.
I remember, I had to double check myself. It's the first time since 2006 that a Disney/Pixar animated film has not won the best animated
Wow.
Yeah.
thing.
Wow.
And now in
that
saying
is
that,
big.
the fact here, 2011, they didn't have a movie up for nomination.
Yeah.
So Rango won that year, which was not a Disney one.
Yeah.
Well, Spider-Man.
Technically owned by Disney.
Sony.
Or wait, was that Sony though?
It was done by Sony Studios, not
Sony
Oh,
owned the
okay.
rights
Well,
to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still,
not that
yeah.
Spider-Man though.
Disney owned the rights to the Marvel Cinematic stuff.
Yeah.
Sony owned the rights to Spider-Man.
Oh, the character. Yeah.
Via the comic stuff.
They let him out on weekends for their movies. So yeah, no, I was delighted to see. We've all seen Spider-Man, right?
Which
It's-
one?
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse.
I
No.
think Ken's.
Watch it. It's
good.
great.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
No,
Oh, it's
no, no.
excellent. Sorry, you already said that you've only seen Wreck-It Me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna wreck
Wreck-It 2.0.
Wreck-It Me.
Me and Joe were thinking about really quickly.
Hmm.
Where do you think? Have you seen it, Mick?
Which?
Wreck-It Ralph
No.
2. Okay. Where they could go with the third one?
Space.
Fuck, I don't know actually.
Me and Joe were thinking of like the internet gets unplugged.
Oh no, I said I
Oh,
think
no.
the arcade closes down.
Oh, sorry, yeah, and where they go from there.
It's
then.
kind of
But yeah,
general
it's
progression of
Yeah.
arcades are
of
dying. Why don't we
games,
just
yeah.
get rid of it?
Mhm.
Because I thought the internet thing was a perfect way of doing a sequel because it was
Yeah.
a generalized. Well, games are all online now.
Because
I
that
was like,
first
okay.
that first movie was fucking excellent as
So
well.
good.
So the
I
first one
love
was
them.
excellent, and then the second, because I think I don't know about you guys, but like for in terms of Pixar, any Pixar film that comes out, I'm expecting to be brilliant. Every other studio could be hit and miss, but Wreck-It Ralph and Ralph Breaks the Internet are both amazing.
Yeah.
And the other sequel in that category, Incredibles 2, which is a
I'll have
Pixar
to
film,
watch that.
obviously.
There's some
is
people.
brilliant as
There's
well,
some
so.
people who are afraid that because Disney's getting so big now, they're gonna just have to constantly make safe bets.
No,
and
I don't
not take risks.
No, I
'Cause
think Ralph Breaks the Internet, like they didn't try and repeat themselves. They progressed the story in a natural way, and it was everything that happened in that movie
Mhm.
made sense, and it's done extremely well.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of sequels that you'll see they fall into the trap of trying to repeat themselves and trying
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
trying
But
to do
it's-
everything that made the first one
It's
successful.
telling that
But
they're all sequels.
what do you mean?
Incredibles 2, Wreck-It Ralph 2. Next year they've got Frozen 2 and
Yeah,
a remake that's kind of animation, but
yeah,
life-like animation for The Lion King.
yeah. Yeah, it's true. But like I mean, just as
Like-
sequels go, the 2 out of the 5 in the category are amazing. And Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, even just things like the Porky Pig character, like that could have been
Can't
That
believe
could have
they
been-
did
Peter
that.
Peter Porker.
Peter Porker.
Peter
That could have
Porker,
been
yeah.
that could have been fucking terrible.
Pete's
But they
can
managed
talk in
to
this universe, right?
they managed to make that shit work. And the older fatter Spider-Man played by what's his name from New Girl? He's amazing.
Oh, Jurassic World.
Just before we move off animation,
Yeah.
is anyone interested in the list of films Disney/Pixar have had since 2006? Because I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
48.
2007 Ratatouille,
Amazing.
2008
Good.
Amazing.
WALL-E,
Amazing.
2009 Up,
Amazing.
Great.
2010
I still cry.
Toy Story 3.
Yeah, amazing.
Like that's a fucking like 4 years in a row they had those. Then 2011 Rango won,
yeah.
2012 Brave, 2013 Frozen, 2014 Big Hero 6,
Oh, it's
Which-
fucking fantastic.
Good,
I
a
love
really good
Big
film.
Hero
That
6.
shouldn't have won that year, I don't think,
Mhm.
though.
2015 Inside Out, 2016 Zootopia, and
Great
2017 Coco.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen the last 3 there. I heard Coco was amazing.
I've heard
Coco's
that's very good.
Insane.
Okay, next category,
Next
please,
category.
Hayden.
The
What-
next category. So I have best original screenplay and also best adapted screenplay. So best original screenplay, the nominees were The Favourite, Green Book, First Reformed, Roma, and Vice. The only one of these I hadn't seen was First Reformed, but that was written by Paul Schrader, who I believe wrote Taxi Driver. He did.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just seeing that he did write Taxi Driver.
Nice.
So I'm assuming that's brilliant. But the winner anyway was Green Book. Have you seen that yet?
No. I
That's-
heard it got a good few awards at
It
this
did,
year's
yeah.
Oscars.
It did, and it
I
was
heard a lot of people describe that as, to put it kind of nicely, it's like a film that makes white people not feel bad about racism.
that's
That's
overly
putting it nicely.
Is that not Django?
that's overly.
It's probably being overly simplified and
it
critical.
definitely is, and
Because
it's.
there were a lot of people online who were not happy that that film won Best Picture. I
I
know
mean,
we're jumping ahead.
We'll come to that. We'll come to the best picture category in a second. Well, people need to kind of get over
Mhm.
themselves a little bit because Green Book is a really good film. It's a brilliant film. I thought, I was surprised at that one because the film I wanted to win didn't win. But fuck it, it's still a deadly film and
Mhm.
everything. If there's not, I can't really. I find it very hard to fault. And when it got to one thing I will say about Green Book, when it got to the end, it said directed by Peter Farrelly. I was like, not that Peter Farrelly, surely. And it is that Peter Farrelly, the guy that made Dumb and Dumber with his
Uh-huh.
brother Bobby. who hadn't made a good film that I've seen anyway in 20 years.
Dumb and Dumber?
Since the last great film that they made, I think, was Me, Myself, and Irene, and
Oh, what a film!
which is, but even that, like the last truly brilliant film that they made was There's Something About Mary. Me, Myself, and Irene was still very good as well, but the last amazing film they made was Mary, and so I wasn't expecting. I thought like after seeing like stuff like Dumb and Dumber 2 and what else? Shallow Hal and stuff like that. I was like, they're
I forgot
fucking
Shallow
done.
Hal existed.
It's good. It's alright, like, but it's. What was over the one they made with Ben Stiller?
I forgot.
Was it Along Came Polly? I think it was called. I've seen
That's the Ben Stiller.
the Psycho thing. I believe that's
Jennifer
them.
Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston, yeah.
No,
Did they do
or
Stuck on You as well?
They
Was
did
that
Stuck
them?
on You, yeah.
That's an atrocious film.
Is
Yeah.
that where your man is Siamese
Yeah,
twins?
Greg Kinnear
Greg
and
Kinnear, yeah. I kind
Matt
of like
Damon.
that film.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
liked
ridiculous.
it at the time, but yeah, it's a
I
bad
bet
film.
you it's aged terribly.
Oh, I'd say so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a film that didn't age well.
But yeah,
what else you got?
just the fact that just to say the fact that he made that film and it was actually it's not Along Came Polly. There's a different one I'm thinking of.
Okay.
It's not. I can't remember the name of it. Ben Stiller like falls in love with this woman who turns out to be a fucking psycho, and she's always like.
So I
kind
married
of-
an axe murderer.
You're not too far off, but it kind of I've seen like about maybe half of that film in bits and pieces, and it's dreadful. But anyway, so best adapted screenplay. The nominees were If Beale Street Could Talk, Can You Ever Forgive Me, Black Klansman, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and A Star Is Born.
Buster Scruggs is in there.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
It's a bit too long in places, isn't
a
it?
bit too long.
Could have done a little bit of
good,
editing.
half of it's bad.
I can see why you think that. I respect your opinion. I liked it overall.
In other words, I'm wrong.
No. I liked it overall. I think it's one of those movies that we would reward and repeat viewings. Do you know what I mean? Like just
Maybe.
like the Liam Neeson bit went on too long and was a bit inconsequential, and stuff like that. It just could have done with a little bit of editing, but I liked it overall. But anyway, but the winner of that one was Black Klansman. Did you see that?
No, not yet.
It's
I've heard
excellent.
it's
really
good.
fucking good.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about that in a minute.
That was Spike Lee's first Oscar?
Spike Lee's first Oscar win was for Best Adapted Screenplay for
Wow.
Black Klansman, yeah.
Fair play.
He looked like that Waluigi.
He looked
It
ridiculous.
was
He did,
Prince.
yeah.
I know, it was
Seeing the
Prince,
picture.
actually,
Yeah.
but he looked
Oh.
like Waluigi.
So Black Klansman, that was excellent. And actually, one of the things I've said it at the time when I seen it, I think I might have said it on this podcast, one of my favorite things about that was Topher Grace's performance is so accurate. It was fucking insane. Best Supporting Actor then, the nominees were Richard E. Grant for Can You Ever Forgive Me, Sam Elliott for A Star Is Born, Adam Driver for Black Klansman, Sam Rockwell for George W. Bush in Vice, and Mahershala Ali for Green Book as Don Shirley, and Ali won for Green Book. I thought the one that should have won there was Richard E. Grant, because I thought he was just unbelievably hilarious and amazing. And Can You Ever Forgive Me? I thought he was excellent.
I saw that poster and I thought it was I'm gonna forget his name. He's in.
For Christ's sake!
Come on, Mick, you got the
No,
Hugh
I
Grant.
was
So
talking
like,
about him earlier on. He read one of the chapters in your Beastie Boys book.
John C. Reilly.
No,
Steven Seagal.
Steve Buscemi.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was close.
Oh, I love
He
Steve.
looks like Steve Buscemi in the poster.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah. He has similar hair to
Uh-huh.
Steve Buscemi as he often has. But yeah, I was happy enough to see him win. Although again, I thought Richard E. Grant was the best out of that lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Best Supporting Actress, the nominees were Rachel Weisz for Sarah Churchill in The Favourite.
I do dirty things to that woman.
Everyone would. Marina de Tavira as Sophia in Roma, Emma Stone as Abigail Mashem in The Favourite, Amy Adams as Lynn Cheney in Vice, and Regina King as Sharon Rivers in If Beale Street Could Talk, and Regina King won. That's a great film, by the way, If Beale Street Could Talk. My favourite in that
Sounds
lot.
super serious.
Just by the name, it's like
Yeah.
you know
It
that's
is.
a
It's like
serious film.
It is quite serious, but
Yeah.
it's very, very good, in fairness. Yeah, I don't know who would pick for that one. But anyway, I was happy enough to see her win because she was excellent. Anyway, I think all of them were excellent in those films.
All right.
Although Roma fucking sucked, but I'll talk about that
That's
in
a
a minute.
Netflix film, isn't it?
Yeah, like it looks amazing, but
Netflix has a good few
It
nominations
won
Yeah.
this
Best
year.
Foreign Language Film.
it did. Best
A lot
actor,
of people say it should have won Best Film, but anyway.
best actor. Those people are wrong. Anyway, best actor, we had Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born, Willem Dafoe in At Eternity's Gate as Vincent van Gogh, incidentally, Viggo Mortensen.
You hated that film.
I did. It was awful. Viggo Mortensen as Frank Vallelonga in Green Book, and Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody. Rami won that one. I thought it should have gone to, I'd say Viggo. Or no, sorry, not Viggo. Christian Bale should have won for Vice, I think.
You're wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
I
you
haven't
think so?
seen Vice, so I don't know. I
Freddie
thought
is God.
Rami was
Obviously,
fantastic.
He was excellent. I was I just thought that Christian Bale would have won. I took solace in the fact that he already won an Oscar for Best Actor in The Fighter a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
I know he has at least one Oscar. But anyway, then
another random fact just to do with Christian Bale and Amy Adams. Christian Bale and Amy Adams have starred in 3 movies together, and they've both been Oscar nominated every time. 2010's The Fighter, supporting actor, he won, and supporting actress. American Hustle 2013, lead actor and lead actress. Vice 2018, lead actor, supporting actress.
There you go. So then Best Actress, and the nominees were Yalitza Aparicio.
Come on, don't do a
in
John
Roma.
Travolta.
Yeah, sorry about that. Lady Gaga in A Star Is Born. Olivia Colman in The Favourite. Glenn Close in The Wife. Melissa McCarthy in Can You Ever Forgive Me? And Olivia Colman won. She deserved that. That was perfectly fine because she was excellent in it. You might remember. Do you know Olivia Colman?
Yeah.
From Hot Fuzz is the only other thing I've seen her in. I think
she's in Peep Show.
Peep Show. I was gonna
never
say,
seen Peep Show.
I would have thought Peep Show was her first thing.
But yeah, and then so we have Best Director. Best Director, the nominees were...
Just to touch on the Best Actors again. Glenn Close, 7 nominations, no wins.
No way. That's mad.
What is she, trying to fight Leo on that?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
So people were talking about whether that's the longest streak, but there was I think it was cinematographer, who won on his 18th nomination.
Jesus. That's mad.
Just give up.
Yeah,
Well,
stop making movies.
Job,
Yeah.
Sorry, Aidan, go on.
Best Director, we had Adam McKay for Vice, Pawlikowski for Cold War, Spike Lee for Black Klansman, Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, and Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favourite. Alfonso Cuarón won for Roma, which fuck that film. I'm sorry, it's
you really hate that film.
Again,
I've never even heard of it.
Like I said, it looks great.
All.
It's on Netflix. You can watch it. It looks amazing, but just as a film, it's just a bit of a mess. When I seen Rolling Stone magazine said it's one of the best films this century, let alone this year, it's oh, get out of my fucking face with that shit. I did not like that film at all. So finally, Best Picture. The nominees were Vice, A Star Is Born, The Favourite, Roma, Bohemian Rhapsody, Green Book, Black Panther, and Black Klansman.
Black Panther.
And Green Book won.
Supposedly a shock, as I've heard.
Yeah.
I was happy.
I was happy to see that win, but I thought the best movie out of that lot was Vice by far, by a country mile. That was, and none of those films apart from Roma were bad. But
you're so against the consensus on this because I've seen so many people say that Roma was deserving of.
That's what fucks me off. I'm just what film did you see?
People were saying it's so deserving of Best Picture, and the Best Foreign Picture win was a cop out for them not giving.
Piss off.
And they also and other people speculating that they would never want to give a Netflix original the Oscar for Best Picture.
Well, that's
that. If they make a good film,
I know. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Just
because it's Netflix.
But just from the cliche, the fogey, the old fucks that run the Academy or whatever.
Yeah.
But I preferred Alfonso Cuarón's other.
Streaming service.
I preferred Alfonso Cuarón's other famous film, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. But that's beside the point. I thought Vice was the best of that lot. But I was happy not to see Green Book win. I do have one other thing about the Oscars. Well, two other things. My favorite part and my least favorite part about the whole ceremony, based on the highlights I watched last night. Apparently, when just one thing, just before I get to one of the controversial bits, the opening with Queen and Adam Lambert.
Yeah,
I'd never seen Queen play with Adam Lambert, and his voice is grand. He's no Freddie Mercury, obviously, because fucking nobody is. But one thing that annoyed me about the performance was his face. His face is fucking mad. The top half of his face, from the nose down, looks like a different face to the top half. I don't know what
so
kind
it's one of those E-fit
He's
things.
very plastic.
Yeah, just look at him. Let me just turn the laptop to you guys. Look at the fucking head in him. He's mad looking.
You know what? He grooms.
Yeah,
right, he's a very well-groomed man.
His face gives me the creeps. So I didn't like that.
The eyes of a 12-year-old and the bottom half of a 40-year-old man.
I know it is. But then my other least favorite thing that I heard about, Spike Lee tried to walk out when Green Book was announced as Best Picture.
Why?
Because he was fucked off that Black Klansman didn't win. And this is already after he'd won his best screenplay, by the way. What a dick.
Yeah, that's a dick move.
At least he's shown some kind of emotion. I don't like all these, Oh yes, very good. Well done. Well, the
Yeah,
fucking
but you still have to congratulate the
Oh,
winners.
of
You don't
course,
just
I
fucking
know,
walk
it's a
out
bad
like
look.
He tried to walk. He waited at the doors until they made their speech, and then he went and sat down again. What a knob for doing that! Like, I mean, Black Klansman
fucking
rocks.
Talk about throwing your toys out of pram, like.
I know, like Black Klansman rocks. Don't get me wrong, but fucking hell, that was a dick move. And then my favorite part of the whole thing was Olivia Colman's speech.
I heard it was very off the cuff and
Oh,
humble.
it was
and it just ended
fucking-
with Lady Gaga.
It was the it was the most British thing I've ever seen, and not in the horrible black and tans kind of way. Just like incredibly British. Like, do you know that joke in
Dry
in,
wit humor,
yeah.
kind of self-deprecating.
do you know that bit in
So no American got the jokes then.
do you know that joke
Obviously.
in Family Guy years ago when they're going to see Hugh Grant film, and Hugh Grant's like, "I'm sorry, I appear to be so charmingly befuddled." It was like that, but for 3 minutes, and it's amazing, and everybody should watch it. I think we'll
I
probably
loved it.
share it. We'll share it on the Facebook page just to show you how amazing it is.
Cool.
So that was the Oscars 2019 in a very small nutshell.
Well, a slightly overrun nutshell.
Oh,
but
for
anyway.
God's sake! I tried my best. It's not easy when you get this fucking constantly in
We're
your fucking
test-
face.
This is all
we're testing it out.
testing
yeah.
out our times.
I gave
Anyway.
you 10 minutes. You went in 18.
Did I?
Did he?
I did not go.
Joe,
into
Son of a
continue on.
bitch.
cock.
Any other man would be happy with 18 minutes instead of 10, but we won't go into that. It's 2019, folks.
You.
18 minutes. All right, yeah. Let's. I think we should rock into our lovely question of the week, which was, how would you break out of prison? Did any of you have a good think about this?
No,
I swear to God, I was going to say if one of you say no, I'm going to throw something.
because I genuinely didn't know the question until now.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is just
Putting in
absolutely
some
beautiful.
prep work there, Ken.
There's
Yeah,
a
it
lot
is.
of options.
How did Leeds do?
Shut up, mate.
Over the years, we've had films and books and everything, and prison and stuff like that. And with our film this week, Shawshank, it makes sense to try and think of what would your best way be. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do something like Andy Dufresne did and kind of
Chisel our way out.
chisel our way. Like, Jesus
A
Christ.
plan that'll
Five.
take 600 years.
5,000
him-
yards.
My
But it
God.
took him 20.
That's the length of 5 football fields.
Through the years as well, one thing I wanted to look up is like the greatest prison escapes or the funniest ones.
Yeah.
Some are fantastic. Some guy
I
tried
like
to fit his
the-
head down a toilet for like a month straight. He thought he could get through. Turns out he was just high on fumes from something.
The shit he was putting his head down to.
I like the Escape from Alcatraz Clint Eastwood one,
Ah,
where
yes.
he makes the paper mache head of his own face and puts that in the bed when he leaves so they don't notice. But then obviously it's a paper mache face.
I haven't seen that film in a very long time. At all. Like even if you look at
A very long time.
or at all.
At all.
I don't remember that. Like
What film was that, sorry?
Escape from Alcatraz.
No, I've never seen it. Moving on.
tunneling seems to be the most
Yeah.
obvious way.
Great
to think.
Escape style.
The Great Escape style. You have that tunnel. And
never
most
seen
of
that
the
either.
times when someone does escape, it's either a tunnel or one has gone missing in a like prison riot type thing. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, where the fuck did he go?
I think if I was
Yeah.
to break out of prison, I'd probably get caught because I'm whistling.
Somebody's doing it again. Yeah, that wouldn't work.
I'd probably try, if I knew I was in for life.
Dankeschön. You're welcome. Ah, damn it.
Fucking hate that scene. That's one of the scenes I really hate in that film.
Great Escape.
Yeah, he's just sitting there in Paris or something like that.
It's like, good luck. Thank you. Oh, shit.
Gets caught. It's like, fuck's sake.
Getting on the bus, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Uh,
Yeah.
You were saying, sorry, Ken, we interrupted you.
Oh, sorry, I completely fucking zoned out there. I think I'd probably try, like, if I knew I was going down for life as is, if I was like, I'm going to fucking die in this place, I'm going to die in style. I'm going to try take one of the prison guards. If he has a gun, try take it, shoot my way out. If I get shot in the process, dead anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Life, you might as well go for something like that. So you're getting
YOLO.
so your way out of prison is in a coffin.
In a
Obviously,
body
got out.
bag.
Going in a body bag.
Still got out.
I'd escape in a bag.
In a bag.
Yeah.
That's actually been used before. Someone faked their own deaths to get out by the morgue and thing, but was met with a
If you
grisly
eat
end when he
enough-
didn't realise they cremate
Well,
Oh,
prisoners.
Jesus.
supposedly, if you eat enough apple core,
What?
or is it apricot? Can't remember. Some fruit has a very, very low trace of cyanide inside of its seed, and if you eat enough of them, you can lower your heart rate to make it seem like you're dead.
I won't be doing that.
Again, prisons cremate their prisoners.
Do they?
Yeah,
I'm sure
well,
it's
some
prison
places.
dependent.
We'll call that Plan B then.
Yeah, I suppose. If my gun shootout doesn't work,
Mhm.
I'll try to sign on it.
The old Sino breath mint. Lovely.
So I tried to find some
Yeah,
funny
just
ones.
the morbid escapes.
Well, at least I'm not eating people this week.
True. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's a good point.
Just for one
That's
week.
what got you landed in prison.
Yep, eating
Yeah.
people.
One I read up on, which I thought was fucking hilarious, was this guy named J. Junior Sigler. All right, he was in his 8th year of his 20-year prison sentence, and I love the way this guy writes the article. It was like, he was in the Everglades Correctional Institution and starting out his day like any other. Walk off the threat of aggressive anal penetration. At 2:03 p.m., he artfully dodged a shanking. At 2:58, he received aggressive anal penetration. And at 3 p.m., a visit from his mom and some friends. All right, but unlike most plexiglass and wired phone visits from his loved ones, this one went a bit differently. In broad daylight, an 18-wheeler truck driven by Sigler's friend John, who was accompanied by his
John.
Well, it's John Beeston, but I skipped it for the thing.
Because nobody cares.
Christopher Michelson and Kenny Mitchell. They ran through not just one, but 4 prison fences, immediately followed by a Cutlass Supreme driven by none other than his mom herself, Sandra Sigler, who busted into the back of it with the 18-wheeler. He got in the 18-wheeler and they drove off.
As you do.
Great times.
Did he get away?
He got away for like 48 hours.
Went on the biggest coke-fueled Reno holiday known to man.
Well, you'd have to.
Did you ever hear
what
the
else did
weird
you do?
ones that happen over here? Like just like
Where
hopping
they
the
just-
wall and stuff like.
Or the one where they just forgot them. Wasn't there some prisoner
No,
recently?
the most
kinda,
common one
the
over
door
here
was
is
left
where
open, so he walked out. They go.
Like Ted Bundy did that kind of. He just jumped from a window for one of his 2 escapes.
the guy in the Nice Road, didn't they stop in for McDonald's and they left the back
Yes.
door open? Your man ended up running down the Nice Road.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah. This is like, fuck it. We got 2
There's-
prisoners in the back.
There's a
Just
lot
get
of
Mickey D's.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people get out on day release and then just don't come back,
Yeah.
which technically is a prison break, but not really.
I
a
always
bit
used
pathetic,
to fear
isn't
it
it?
when,
Yeah.
when I was a kid. Like if you go down like by the Mater Hospital, or even when I went down for like a checkup or anything in the hospital,
Mhm.
I never realised, but you see like the prison guards surrounding one person, and you're like, why are they in handcuffs?
Yeah.
Did they get arrested? And they're in like full chains
But they,
because they have to get a medical
Yeah.
checkup, and they're surrounded by prison guards. And I'm like, what the fuck?
To a
Yeah.
point where
What's wrong
Tala
with you, mister?
Hospital,
Yeah.
Tala Hospital has that right beside the ambulance bay. It has the
Yeah.
prison thing
Bay.
printed on the
Yeah.
ground.
oh, okay.
I
didn't
think
know that.
prison or Department of Prisons or something, whatever it is.
Correction, yeah.
Yeah. Which I-
Servicial presume
I was like,
the hair.
okay, so they're there often enough. They have their own spot at the
it's
hospital.
one of the 2 or 3 major hospitals in Dublin, so it makes sense.
That happens a lot at the hospital. There's loads of stories of that. Like, they like the prisoner, his mother came along, and she held down the officer, tripped him up, and held him down on the ground while he
Oh
was.
Jesus! I'm so sorry.
Her son on the bed literally just ran out the door. They caught him
But
somewhere
did
up
she do
in the
like
back
the
part
whole
of the Tala.
trip up, fall over him, and do the whole movie scene where she just stares endlessly into his eyes and just goes, "Oh,
I'm
it
sorry
was
about
an
that.
accident."
Sorry about that whammy.
All right, guard.
Alright,
pal.
I'd have to do a Toy Story 3 style. Just get rid of that bird and come up with a nice elaborate plan, because that'd be fun.
I've never seen Toy Story 3.
Yeah, I know, you're an idiot. Yeah, there's a massive escape scene in Toy Story 3, and it's amazing.
Is it a
Spoilers.
prison escape scene though?
Huh?
Is it a prison escape scene?
Toy
Well,
prison.
It kind of is.
Oh, that's okay.
A little bit.
Hmm.
You've seen Toy Story 3, haven't you?
prison.
3? No.
Have you not?
Gave up
Aha.
after the second one.
Why?
Why?
Shoy.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Got
third
bored
one
of
was
it.
so emotional.
Yeah.
Oh,
Totes
God.
Emotion.
Totes.
Totes Emotion
I thought
2K9.
we'd never say totes emotion on
I
this
thought, yeah.
podcast, but there we go.
I've said it many
Just
times.
ruined it.
Starting as we mean to continue.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right, will I read some of the comments?
This
Yeah, let's go
podcast
with
is
comments.
lit.
The first one I thought was like a video of like explaining how he was going to do it, and it ended up just this like CCTV of inside an actual prison cell, and this guy's on the top bunk and he dives head first into a toilet pot,
Uh-huh.
and like I can't. I still watching it here over and over. I can't understand what he was
Does
trying
he
to
think
do.
he's a fish?
To
Or
freedom.
Mr.
I
Hanky?
don't know, but it looks awfully painful.
Imagine your shoulder smashing off the side of that bowl as your head hits the end of the toilet.
Oh, his head goes straight in, so his shoulder just hit the both sides. Fuck.
And his head getting stuck.
Was that a video of Train Spotting?
No, look,
Sounds
there
like-
it is. There, look. Look.
I got a lust for
Yeah, man.
life.
Oh, it looks great from here.
What?
I got a lust for
Yeah.
life.
All right. Boom.
Oh, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
exactly.
What happens?
Wait, did
Um,
someone put that in the feed? Or where did you see that?
No,
it's on
the
the comments on my page.
Anyway, Joe, continue.
Anyway, Anne says,
Hold on,
which
I'll
we
have to add you
mentioned
as a friend
before,
first, Joe.
but such a dick.
I
Oh my
think-
god.
You're very, very
Oh,
harsh.
there's no
Oh.
internet, so I'm going to play the dinosaur game on Google.
I didn't know that was a thing until
Did you never know that?
No,
Dinosaur
until
If
game?
your
about
internet is
Look.
cut out
I did not know that.
and
Till a
you
few
press
weeks ago,
the
yeah.
up key, you're a little dinosaur and you have to jump over trees and stuff.
I
and
did
hit
not
a
know
high
that.
score.
it's fucking dead.
Yeah, it's a way to
Google, you
pass the time until
absolute-
the internet comes back.
So that what you're saying is that's our endless future when the inevitable, heat death of the earth comes and
No,
there's no
I'm just
internet.
waiting for this
It's a zombie
podcast to
apocalypse.
get decent
Yeah.
until this dies.
Anyway, Anne says, which we mentioned earlier, Bundy style through the light in the ceiling.
Oh, yeah, that was the second way he
That's
escaped.
impressive. Do you know what's really funny about that? That one of his many escapes.
I think it was just two.
he
wasn't it?
actually cut down.
One of two.
Yeah.
He knew exactly how much it would take to get through that hole in the ceiling to a point where he cut his weight down
Yeah.
and strategically ate things that would help him
Mhm.
cut the weight in certain
Like
areas of his
celery.
body so he could get out that.
Yeah.
Yo, Ted, you're looking awful skinny there. What's the haps?
Yeah.
I don't know, buddy.
What's happening, Slim?
I think I'd have to be-
Meals in here are getting shit.
He nearly broke his ankle. He jumped from the second story of some courthouse and just ran up into the mountains.
What a scumbag.
What I found was weird was he goes, fuck, you know what, I'm cold, I'm hungry, I'm going to have to go back down. So he thought he'd steal a car, and he drives back into the same town which he was being held in, alright? And was just driving around, kind of phasing in and out on like of consciousness in the car. I was like, shit.
Not just find somewhere to sleep for a few hours.
He did, he found a cabin. And
He's
then
gone for
Don't-
days or weeks even. I think.
was it?
Yeah.
8 days was that one, I think
Was
it
it?
was.
Yeah.
Almost as if he wasn't mentally sound.
Oh, he was fucked in the head.
Or
That guy's
sound as a
psycho.
person in general. No, I don't think so.
Probably not.
So David
No.
James Blair said, simple, I would kidnap a guard, cause a riot, and walk out the front door.
Boom. What
Yeah,
a
you
man.
chose
I
that,
love
didn't
that
you?
plan.
You chose that
Take
as
his
well.
gun, shove his baton up his arse, and run.
You know,
Sideways.
it's not one guard, right? Just one guard guarding the whole prison.
Wait, what?
There's a lot of guards.
Ken's thinking of like the sheriffs in those
Beat up
Old West
towns.
movies where there's two barred cells, one guy, and he's asleep and drunk
And I throw a little piece of string and catch it on his keys.
and pull it out. Yeah.
No, if it's one of those
Like
ones,
the mask.
the dog definitely
Yeah.
of the sheriff has the key
Holds
around
the
his
keys.
neck.
Just
Yeah.
do it like the mask.
You gotta wave the
Get those
phone.
keys. Do you remember that? Get those keys. No,
No.
not the cheese. The keys.
Keys. Milo. Yeah, that's actually a good one. Austin came in with
Oh, Jesus, Austin probably writing a book on this.
not really. He goes,
Oh.
I'd get a retrial.
Does he say how he get the retrial?
Yeah, no. not
I will
really, but
exhaust all
he
legal
goes,
avenues.
I would bring on Brendan Dassey as a witness and have my lawyer say to Brendan, actually, is it not true that you, in fact, are the one who committed this crime, Brendan? Yeah.
Who's
Who's
Brendan
Brendan?
Dassey?
Is that the guy from
Brendan
Making
Dassey making a murder? He was like,
Who did?
yeah. I did it.
Mindfully manipulated.
I was like, did you do it? Yeah, we know you did it, Brendan. Yeah, it was
Austin
me.
didn't do it.
It was me. Yeah,
Mhm.
I killed him. Stupid fucking bros.
I
Poor
touched
little
the girl
child.
on the bum.
Oh God, this is getting dark.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
It's nighttime.
How to get away with how to get away with everything.
Christ. I hate
I
you.
missed that. I missed
Fucking
that.
love you, Mick.
Fuck.
It's like, oh, it's getting dark. It's not time.
Your dad actually replied, by the way.
Yeah? What did he say?
He goes, dig
I've
a tunnel.
escaped 3 times.
That's it.
Just dig a tunnel.
Just dig a tunnel.
With what, though? It's like, what's that shovel doing in the corner? Nothing.
Spoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Edel also says, late to the party, but let's go with learning the craft of hypnosis and
Yeah.
using it
Ooh.
against the guards. Closest thing to the force you can get. This isn't the prisoner you're looking for.
For God's sake.
You will let me out of this prison.
That's actually real
Well,
good.
that did work in Star Wars.
Like
on Craig David. Your
Can
man,
I get a rewind?
Craig Davey, a man that played Bond.
Oh man, there's so many things in my brain. Like,
Fleek David.
God, it hurts.
I played Bond. Yes, I did.
Daniel Craig.
And I shot him with a
Jesus
And
Christ.
Just
Drop
escape from
a ball.
prison.
Oh, no, dear Christ in heaven. Good. That would be. I don't know what mine would
Is
be.
Bo Selecta still funny?
Probably not. No.
Can I get a rewind?
There's no way
yes, I
that
can,
ages
because
well.
I taped it last Tuesday.
I would honestly, the library would be my best friend when it would be. I know if it was a Prison Break, it would be a combination of trying to learn things, like of different things.
It'd be an accomplishment for you to learn to read.
We didn't mention.
Fuck, man.
Mother of God.
Swapping with Mick.
We
Actually,
did,
Mick hasn't ripped on me in a
No,
while.
It's
Actually,
whoever is hosting.
There's
We-
no room
yeah.
for it.
we didn't mention it in the discussion of Shawshank Redemption.
Uh-huh.
But that line where it's like Count of Monte Cristo, it's about a prison break,
Oh,
and
we
Red
should-
just goes, "So we filed that under educational too."
Alexander Dumbass. Dumbass. It's Dumas. Actually, that is a fantastic
Film.
film and book.
The Count of Monte
The Count of
Cristo.
Monte Cristo is fantastic.
Never read or saw it.
I
Don't read the book.
I think you'd really like it.
Around the
Actually,
movie.
Do you know what to read?
I'm
I
gonna
think-
read.
I think you would really like it.
Coming from the Oscars, another quick aside. Apparently, one of the big things at the Oscars was a trailer for The Irishman,
Yeah.
which is a Scorsese, De Niro, Pacino.
They're gonna fuck it up with horrible Irish accents. Like, if they got the four of us doing voiceovers.
Yeah, but do you really want to walk up
Pesci
to
was the other one.
any one of those actors and say you're shit at an Irish accent?
Yeah.
I'm gonna read the book.
Unless
Just
it's
try and stop me.
Unless it's Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Couldn't Fardle.
I'm gonna. It was based on a book. I'm probably gonna try and read the book.
Yeah.
It's called
I'll
"I
do it.
Heard You Paint Houses."
Oh,
That's a fucking awful title.
that is
for a
an
book.
awful. That is
Well,
just
no, because I
that
heard
is
you paint
awful.
houses is mafia slang for killing people.
Right, okay.
Because you paint
Ah.
the walls with blood.
Whatever
Ah.
happened to?
Paint the town red.
Uh-huh.
Whatever happened to?
Paint the gaff
He
red.
kills people.
Yeah.
You can't talk like that. You're gonna be a mobster from Chicago.
You're in the mafia.
Just
Who
go
gives a
put bullet
shit?
in his head.
Yeah, what are you
They
gonna
say
do?
all the time.
What are you gonna do,
Oh, crown of your
Oh.
ass.
Jimmy?
So,
fucking
is
Hoffa?
that all our prison breaks and stuff? I think we have. I think that's even all
That it?
our
Hey,
comments
what's
as
yours?
well.
Toy Story 3. Just that.
Oh,
that is-
shit, yeah.
He's going with the Toy Story 3.
I'm gonna
Did
turn
you
it.
say what yours was?
I think I'd hope to be in a corrupt prison and just buy my way out
Mm.
with some
Oh,
money
wow.
that I get from somewhere. I don't
That's the
know.
way to go.
I've not really
Selling
thought
all
this
your
through.
crapple products.
Yeah.
Swapping the Apple. No, Mick would use an
I'll
Apple
work my-
Pencil as a shiv.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you take off the tip, it does a lightning connector, so you could use
Shank
that as
them.
a shovel.
Oh,
Um,
man.
actually-
I'm gonna be in the
Jesus.
eye prison.
Sorry, just shout out to Bernie, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bernie on our original feed. She said, "Hi guys, just on my way home from delivery." Hi Bernie, we
Hey, Bernie.
we killed that feed because it died.
Hey, Bernie.
And also Gordon says, "This is a weird one. I bring an apple and a knife, then I cut the apple in." Hang on. I think you mean okay. I'm going to
Some
read this
nice
again. I think
reading
you left out.
comprehension.
Hang on. I think you mistyped. I bring an apple with a knife and a knife, and then I cut the apple in two. Then I put the two halves together. Two halves make a hole. Then I crawl through the hole. It's quite. It's quite. It's quite a surreal one. That I don't know if that's going to work, Gordon. But
But Gordon, if it takes you an hour to dig that hole, how long does it take you to dig half a hole?
oh god,
My brain hurts.
I should have done maths in school.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck couldn't chuck wood?
4.
Correct.
Damn
how,
it, you got
how
me.
long does
Yeah.
it take to dig half a hole if it takes you an hour to dig a full hole?
Half the time?
How do you even get your
No.
hole? Wait, hang on. How do
You
you
can't
get
dig half a hole. A hole's a hole. Jesus Christ, lads. Come on. Get with the program.
semi-hole?
This is like one of those moments where you know that day you
If a
walked
tree
into
falls
school
in
and
the
they
forest
started.
and no one's around
Oh,
to hear it,
Yeah.
does it make a sound,
Yes, yes, 100%. Yes,
Joe?
Does
Yeah.
it though?
Does it?
yes, yes.
but
it
the
does.
sound doesn't
I just
exist
can't
to
hear it.
anybody's ears.
No, if I'm just not near it, I can't. You know what? No, I'm not getting into this.
You know, it's like
Just
you're
it'll be-
damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. But then you do it or you don't do it.
Is there bear shit in the woods? Yes, there's
Yes,
footage
it
on the
does.
Top
We've
Gear
seen-
special.
Yeah, no.
Does
Jeremy
the Pope
Clarkson-
shit in the woods?
Jeremy Clarkson
That's-
recorded it
Oh,
on
was it
film.
The Top Gear one, was it?
It was, yeah, it was a Bolivia
Wasn't that Grand Tour
special.
one?
No, it wasn't Grand Tour, it was Bolivia special, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, where they became professional
Photographers.
photographers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's hilarious. That they're fucking amazing, those guys.
Bear does shit in the woods. Does the Pope?
All right,
Yes.
I think
He probably shits in a jacks of some sort that's made of gold.
Did we
Obviously.
finish like the questions early and we just need to kill
I-
time?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I think we're
Do we have
close to
a...
it.
Well, we're a little under. I'm glad at this point, no, I'm glad Aidan went over with the Oscar stuff. Because if he didn't, we'd have been way short on
Yeah.
time.
Thrashing me in the knees when I was going over. Anyway,
Do we have a plan for next week?
Nope.
No.
Fantastic.
All right, let's do it. Let's
Keep
do a
on
plan.
preaching.
Yeah.
What type
Hey,
of film haven't
do
we
we
done
have-
in a while?
We haven't done a musical in a long time.
Or an animation? I
Animation,
suggested
yeah.
musical. I
Musical.
wanted Across the Universe a long time ago.
The hell is Across the Universe?
Across the Universe.
It's a Beatles
is
song.
Musical based
phenomenal
on
musical.
the Beatles music through the ages.
But it has nothing got to do with the Beatles.
Not
What a-
really, no. It's an original story with the Beatles
Yeah.
songs telling the story.
Sounds shy.
It's the thing is, we could do some. We haven't done an animation either. Adele is shouting "The Greatest Showman."
Rosie'd have to be in on the podcast then.
The Greatest Showman is a fantastic.
I've
film.
never seen it.
It is an absolutely fantastic film.
This is the greatest show.
Can't fault it. It's actually deadly. But
Adele also
Alright.
has her break out of prison plan, by the way. She says, late to the party, but let's go with learning the craft of hypnosis. and
Really?
Using it,
Aidan?
and using it against... Wait, did you say that already?
maybe I definitely did. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Shit, what was I doing?
I've
don't
no
know.
With the
fucking
power of
idea.
the
Hi, Adele.
jet.
Jerking off with your mind.
Wow.
I think she was... did she use the power of hypnosis on me? Is that what happened?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Maybe.
Adele.
No,
Um,
you can't
I think it was
enforce the
looking-
power of idiocy on people to not
No.
listen.
I think
Alright.
I must have been trying to look up something when she was saying that, because all I have is Toy
I
Story
really
3.
hope if I look back in this footage, you are staring straight at Joe while he's reading it.
Well, yes,
I'm
Oh my
fairly
God, I have
sure-
to.
I'm fairly
Yeah.
sure
I
that's
hope,
what you were doing.
I hope he's doing this as well, where he goes,
Yeah.
you know, like a nod of like. Oh,
She also says, even when I'm not there, he's ignoring me. Oh, bollocks. Can I sleep on your couch tonight, Ken?
No,
That's the
where
dog's-
Opie sleeps.
Oh, Christ. Well, Opie loves me. He'll be fine.
He does love you.
He does.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't hump anyway, so it's fine.
Oh, lovely.
Ew.
Only his little piggy.
Has he got the snips?
Okay then. All right. So if we're going for
Well, maybe-
musical, shall we? If we've got a few, maybe we'll do like a voting thing this week.
Yeah, we'll pick out a few
Right.
musicals, put up to a vote tonight, and then
Is it-
after
If
a
I
day
put
or
Greatest
two-
Showman in there, it's going to be the
Showman
first. There's no point to
Gonna win.
doing it.
Well, then if we're gonna say that, we just watch Greatest Showman.
You want to do Greatest
I've
Showman?
never seen it.
I'm
I don't
happy
even
to
know what
do
it's
it,
on
yeah.
about.
DVD or
It's out now.
It's
yeah.
on the Sky Store.
It's,
Oh, that's
it's
okay
everywhere.
Yeah, we
I don't
we
want to have
watch
to
that.
illegally download this movie.
You'd never do that.
All right then.
Hugh
Adele,
Jackman would kill you.
is it a
Yeah.
unanimous Greatest Showman?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, we're gonna watch Wolverine dance.
I didn't agree.
X-Men, Second Class.
What?
He's just trying to pull out Deadpool
I'm
jokes.
just trying to throw out as many Wolverine jokes as I can.
Yeah.
I think.
Deadpool
Yeah.
sings a song at one stage.
That
Huh?
doesn't make it a
Technically
musical.
Kind of.
Do we have a question of the week?
Should we musical related to it, or should we?
Maybe we'll.
The best musical soundtracks. Did we already have that?
We've probably done that. Maybe we'll
think
workshop
so.
it, and
I think we have
come
done
back
something
in.
like
the
that.
musical of the
Yeah.
best soundtrack.
we'll discuss. Yeah, we'll discuss it offline and actually make a decision.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alright.
I think Adele commented on the live feed.
She did. Yeah. She
Um,
do you know what she
If
said?
she was to use the power of hypnosis.
Oh,
Go on.
I can't finish a sentence. I
I
don't
don't
know.
even have it in front of me and I can't read it.
That is fantastic.
Aiden Ralph, if people want to get in contact to us about any and all the shite we talk, how can I do it?
Don't.
Mick, if people want to get in contact with us, we're going to find us on Facebook.
And if Aiden actually figures out how to read and remembers
Yeah.
seeing the comment.
Christ. So you can find us on Facebook.
Do you know why he didn't? Do you know why he didn't remember? Because he's playing Pokemon.
That's not true. That was a joke, come on.
Did you just catch a fucking Pidgey?
No, it's a
No,
Charmander.
it was a Charmander.
Where's the Charmander?
Fucking lack
It's
of professionality
incense.
on
It's
this
incense.
podcast.
We are absolute professionals.
We are,
people.
yeah.
Just
I
the-
can-
The
to kill
tree is playing Pokemon.
No, we're
I'm
not.
playing, I'm just looking.
I can, I can multitask. What's the name of this podcast again? You can find us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Search for Preachin on Preacher. You can find us on Twitter at PreachinPod. Email us if you do. I think I've been emailed twice by you and Adele. That's it.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
An email once.
No, you didn't.
I
Did
fucking
you?
did. It was
went
Richard
straight
Nixon.
into your spam.
Richard Nixon as well. Christ.
I do send a lot of dick pics to you. Yeah.
preachinonpreacher@gmail.com. You can find all back episodes on preachinonpreacher.com, on Mixcloud, on fucking the other one, Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. We're a little bit behind, but yeah, they'll be there. But yeah, that is it.
I was going to do the snore noises, but I decided not to.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, that was really nice of you.
That was-
Mentioning it is basically the same thing.
Oh, fuck is.
Oh.
So yeah, I guess that's it for another week of this horseshit. So see you guys next
Jesus
week.
Christ.
Later.
Yeah.
Keep on preaching.